So the last asset on our watch list for today is my favorite, and that is of course the XAUUSD, which in the last 48 hours now we have been witnessing some choppy scenarios which further emphasize the level of indecision going on in this particular market. Well, although all our buy positions from yesterday, sorry, we only had one anyways. So what our buy position from yesterday resulted in a loss, and the market structure still continues to exhibit a bullish outlook as gold attracted some deep buying during the Asian session today, hereby reversing a significant portion of the previous day's decline. Now, at this juncture, I'm of the opinion that market participants appear to be anticipating a fresh catalyst before positioning for the next directional move. As a result of this, all eyes are going to be on the release of the economic events for today, especially from the United States. And later in the week, we also have the US core personal consumption expenditure that is on Friday, which could also impact the Federal Reserve's future policy decisions. So this in turn is expected to determine the near-term trajectory for the safe haven assets. Now, given the current market character, given current market character, which exhibits a softer risk tone, I will still maintain a bullish bias with the levels we identified on the chart serving as our major yardstick. Now, for the sake of those who are not part of our earlier editions, let's quickly run through how the week started for us all in this community and what led to the situation that made us to maintain a bullish sentiment in this particular market. Now, at the beginning of the week, we had the situation where price was confined within the $2,024.80 level and the $2,016.10 area to emphasize the level of indecision that was going on in this particular market. And of course, you know how we use our flat ranges. Whenever we identify them on the chart, we exercise patience and wait for either the breakout of the resistance line to happen, give us buying opportunity, or the breakdown of the support line to give us an opportunity to sell. And of course, there was no point in time price action came close to the support line, hereby negating the idea of even considering selling this particular asset. So instead, we saw multiple breakout and retest of the resistance line at the $2,024.80 level to trigger our first buy position for the week. Then we kept on adding more positions to our existing trade as we saw price breakout of the 2030. We also added at the 2035 and finally had the breakout of the $2,043 area, which actually gave us significant amount of profit. So let's see, the first one moved about 200 pips. The second one moved about 150, that's about 350 pips. Then the third one moved about 100, that's about 400 pips. And the fourth one, moved about 35 pips. So we had roughly about 400 pips before the bearish momentum came in. So the worst case scenario must have been between 250 to 300 pips after price action took us out at the stop loss area where we moved it to during the course of the week. So congrats to everyone who are taking advantage of that opportunity. Then to guide our trading decision for this week, remember that we had this ascending trend line marked out on our chart, which of course has been supporting this bullish momentum since last week Friday, as you will see here. And of course, you know how we use our ascending trend line. We did agree that as long as price action remains above the ascending trend line, we continue to maintain a bullish bias. And during our live session yesterday, remember we said we will be buying the breakout of the $2,035 level, and in fact I placed my stop losses just right below the $2,030 area, which triggered my sell stop my stop loss, and that buy position went into a loss. And right now price action is back above the ascending trend line and has since been trading along this ascending trend line. Now you would agree with me that we are at a crucial juncture in this market where anything could actually happen. Now remember that at the beginning of I think during the second midweek, we did acknowledge an uptrend continuation pattern here. So if I will give a visual representation of what I mean, so we had this impulsive move all the way into the structure. Then we saw price action transition into what looks like a pennant, or you could call it a flag pattern, depending on from what perspective you are looking at this from. And usually, and from a theoretical perspective, we expect that price action will break out of the resistance line of that pattern to incite an opportunity to buy. And this was exactly what happened right here on Tuesday, as we saw price break out of the resistance line of that pattern, breaking out of our key level as well at a 2030 to trigger that buy position. Now, from a technical standpoint, when price breaks out of a key structure such as this, we do expect that some point in time price may retrace back to the structure that was broken to incite an uptrend continuation. Now, if you look at what has been happening since price tested the highest level at a 2047 area, you will see that price action has been going through a series of lower lows and lower highs. No, it's a consolidation phase anyways, but it's more like a series of lower lows and lower highs, as you will see here. Now, this continued selling pressure here may incite a move that will get into retesting the structure that was broken, where we will look out for an uptrend continuation pattern. And this, of course, will be dovetailing to, let's see, a minimum of 140 to a maximum of about 180 pips to catch here. So we do want to be on standby to capitalize on that potential move. Now, with all the information we have gathered here, coupled with the fundamental factors behind the scenes, though the market sentiment still looks very bullish, but we could still see some profit-taking activities happen, which would reflect on the chart as price doing some retracement move. Now, if price action in any way today break down this ascending trend line, then we'll start considering selling. And in fact, I already have a sell stop order below the $2,030 area, which happens to be our key level for the week. And of course, you know how we use our key levels in this community. As long as price action remains below the key level, we continue to look out for patterns and structures that supports the idea of selling. So I have a sell stop order right there, with my TP target somewhere or anywhere around the $2008 and $2004 zone, which lines up with the descending trend line we identified on the higher time frame, which of course is also serving as the support line of that uptrend continuation pattern. Now, with all the information we have gathered here that is selling below the 2030, we may have the privilege of even joining a bearish opportunity even before the breakdown of the 2030 happens, if we have significant series of lower lows and lower highs within the 2035 and the $2030 zone. So if we begin to see on our lower time frame, especially after the breakdown of this ascending trend line, some series of lower lows and lower highs like this, we could actually join early enough before the breakdown of the 2030 happens. And then when our sell stop order triggers below the 2030, we would have maximized the potential of this bearish move. So that is how we will be selling the XAUUSD today. However, if price continues to maintain above the ascending trend line, I already have a buy position running, though it's currently running in a loss of about 5 pips thereabout. And if price continues to maintain its progression above the 2035 area, that means we're still within the buyer's territory, but a breakout of the $2038.50 level would be a good opportunity to maximize the potential of this bullish move. And if price continues to find new highs, then a breakout of the 2043 will welcome more buy positions. And if price continues up, taking out the highest level for this week at the $2047 area, we definitely want to be adding more buy positions to our existing trade. So this is how we will be managing our positions on the XAUUSD today. So simply put, our center of focus is basically around this 2035 area, where depending on how price reacts to this level will determine if we are going to maintain our bullish bias or get ready to start selling. Now, let me do a quick recap here. Selling will only come at the breakdown of the 2030, but I did mention that if we see significant signals before the breakdown happens, like a series of lower lows and lower highs on our lower time frame, we can join early enough before the breakdown happens. And if price climbs up and break out of the 2038, this will be a very good opportunity to join a bullish move. So I encourage us all to mark out these levels on our charts, as we will be needing them as a reference point to guide our independent trading decisions for today. Now, if you have any questions whatsoever, feel free to let me know in the comment section. So I will be taking the next 5 seconds off to see if there are any questions before we go on to round off on today's trading session.